Amazing. Thank you so much for joining us, everybody. We are so delighted to be joined by Justice and Samuel in Uganda, and to so many lovely familiar faces from the UK. What we wanted to do at the end of the year is just take a moment to reflect on all that's been happening, to catch up and to have some fun, some laughter, and enjoy and spread some Christmas cheer. So thank you so much for joining us. We're going to have some time for questions in a little bit. But first, just want to hand over to Danny Morris, and he's going to introduce everybody.
Hi, everyone. I don't know if you can see me. I can't even see myself here. So that's good. Thanks, Rich. Just welcome everyone, friends of Justice and Sam, friends of Iron Uganda, friends of International Needs. I can see folks from Ogilvy. Good to see Neil here. Great to see you all. It's just been so fantastic to be able to use this technology and bring, almost like from our correspondent in Uganda, to bring news directly to us, and it's been fantastic. And certainly, we love these guys in Uganda, and we just want to support them and thank them for all they do, and celebrate, even if in this most strange way, Christmas like this. But a lot of you may not have met. Of course, you'll know Justice because he's travelled here regularly, but you may not have met Sam. And I love talking to Sam when I come to Uganda and get to meet him. And Sam, could you just introduce yourself to those that maybe don't know you, and just say a little bit about yourself, your career and what you've been doing and what you're doing now as well. You'll need to unmute yourself, Sam.
Okay, my name is Sam Luboga. Well, introduce myself. I'm a medical doctor. I'm husband to Christine, and father to many, many sons and daughters. I am a medical doctor. I'm a surgeon once upon a time. I taught in a medical school for 38 years. And I was teaching anatomy. And then, well, 12 years ago, almost, maybe more, I became a reverend. I have been busy trying to do what I can to represent God in showing his love to people. So I have been responsible for starting many community initiatives. Here in Imperere, we started St. Stephen's Hospital, which belongs to the Church of Uganda here. And it has grown some. It has spent 30 years. It is now a really significant hospital undertaking major surgical operations. And for some 15 years, 10 years, Justice, I've chaired IN Uganda. I'm surprised they still put up with me, but I'm their chairperson. And yeah, recently, after retiring from Makerere and doing lots of charity work, board chairmanship in many organizations like in Infectious Diseases Institute, May, Uganda, and IN Uganda, and so on. I was surprised when I was appointed chairperson of the Uganda Education Services Commission. So it is my responsibility to chair efforts to recruit 68% of the public servants in Uganda. So that keeps me out of trouble. I'm busy somewhat. Advertising jobs and shortlisting and interviewing people, and yeah, I still remain loving God and do what I can to help other people.
Sam, that's so good to hear you, and it's so good to hear, because I always want people to meet you as well when they come to Uganda, and they don't always have the chance or the opportunity because you are doing a million other things. You make me feel like such an underachiever.
No, Danny, you are wrong again. But anyway, I am available at the drop of a call. As soon as you say, Sam, can we meet? I'll always be available.
Thank you, Sam. And Sam, just briefly, this has been, the Queen Elizabeth once described 1992 as the Annus Horribilis. Perhaps we could, how would you describe this year in Uganda, and what has been your sort of thought about how you see this year?
Well, some people said it should have been skipped. You know, we started the year with lots of plans, and then it came March the 18th, and we had an announcement that a new disease has been discovered in China, and it was spread in South Korea in a church. In fact, the person who first told me about it he doesn't hate Christianity, but he just finds it funny that we spend so much time in churches. He teases his father for being a Christian. But anyway, when he saw me, he said, you know, you go to churches, but so many people got infected by this problem in South Korea. And I started wondering what it was. But anyway, the following day, that I was invited to lead a church service in St. Andrews, Bukoto. And while I was waiting to enter, we were told that as of the following day, all church services were banned. So when I stood there giving this service and preaching, I told them, this is the last service, you had better listen hard. Anyway, we went home, everybody was locked in homes, and it was unbearable for most people. For me to keep sanity, I started clearing whatever bush and thicket was around my house, and we planted beans, and we have a small farm. We went and dug up ponds and started fish ponds and anything to exercise these muscles. And we thought that we looked forward to a post-COVID situation after 3 months. And then people started making lots of noise. They are locked up in the house. They don't have money. They don't have food. People started, it was so horrific. People started committing suicide. People started sneaking out to drive their borders and being arrested. It was so bad. But anyway, under pressure, we had all these SOPs. You wash your hands, you keep your distance, you use a mask. And we thought all these were the panacea of the problem. And soon, government under pressure started to open one thing after another, allowing public transport and saying that public transport could go half capacity, but they should have known nobody would pay any attention once they are in the minibus. They would just fill up as much as they want. And so eventually the churches were opened with very strict guidelines. Don't sit near each other, you wear masks and so on. But unfortunately, there has never been anything so misunderstood as wearing a mask. People thought having a mask is the trick. So masks are worn in the neck as a necklace, worn on the chin, anywhere except over the mouth and nose. And even those that will put them on the nose and mouth, when they enter the church, they remove it to sing, they remove it to speak. So I think in Uganda, the mask has been extremely ineffective as a public health solution. And it doesn't surprise anyone. Numbers are starting to creep up. Many notables are starting to catch the disease and die. And panic is on the loose now. Some people are dying from fright. There is a lady recently who died just by knowing that she had COVID-19. I mean, her daughters were naughty because they thought they were hiding it from her, and when they shared it on social media, they had forgotten she's on the social media platform herself. So when she looked, she started shouting, "I'm going to die, I'm going to die," and indeed she died. So we are extremely worried now because many people are dying of COVID-19, not as many as in the UK or in the US, but this is a place that thought they are not going to die from COVID-19. People thought, once I'm young, since the majority of Ugandans are young, then it won't affect us. But the other day we lost a 29-year-old medical doctor who had no comorbidities at all. So it is scary times here. But also the other impacts on the economy. I mean, the economy is now up and running, but during the lockdown, factories closed down, people lost their jobs. People were very disturbed by that. But many people have no income. Many people have never had so many requests for, "Give me some money, give me some money. I didn't have lunch, send me some money. I want to go to hospital, send me some money." And I'm not unique at all. Everyone is receiving requests for help. And some requests are very genuine, some are very, heartbreaking, that people are really hungry and in need for money. So we don't know what will happen. Then on the schools, 15 million plus Ugandan children went back home and were not having any education at all. Soon after the closure of the schools, I heard that Britain had purchased, I think, something million tablets and distributed to school children in the UK. And I said, well, I can I go to the UK? Because here the many people, the majority of people are not connected to the internet. There are places where even the radio signal doesn't reach. There are places where you cannot even get a newspaper because of the terrain. So many children did not have the luxury of continuing to study. Although the government has made determined efforts, there are very nice reading materials, mathematics, arithmetic, whatever, entrepreneurship, chemistry, physics in the newspaper every day. And we thank friends from the UK because IN has been able to take that material and photocopy it and distribute it to children in the areas in which we work. But for the rest of the country, there is a severe shortage of opportunities to continue studying. Recently, the government decided that candidate classes that are changing from one section to another, for example, primary 7, who are waiting to go to secondary school, senior 4, who are waiting to go to HSC, to high school, senior 6, who are waiting to go to university, and final year university students and postgraduates can go back to school. And I was involved in the effort to allow medical students to go back to school because medical students are trained on illnesses, on patients. If you wait until the situation of the patients the disease is cured before you admit them back, then how will they learn how to treat these conditions? And the medical students have been allowed, and many health training institutions have been reopened. Sadly, in some of them, some students have come down with COVID-19, but fortunately, all these have been managed without being sent back home. So we haven't lost any student in school. So the schools are starting to reopen. We recently had a health, education and sports sector review 2-day meetings, which was partly virtual and partly physical. And the head of the education development partners, people who give aid for education activities, was passionate in urging government to open all schools. But that will require a lot of preparation because typically schools here are very overcrowded. I mean, I don't mean it lightly, overcrowded. A class that's meant for 40 students can easily have more than 180 students. So that kind of situation, when you open school, there'll be no social distancing at all. If you want the social distancing as we know it, then you need to expand almost all the schools to 3 times their size. So it is not a small problem, but the challenge is here and everybody is digging in for the long haul.
Thank you, Sam. It's we've been thinking so much of you in Uganda, and we're so happy that we've been able to help some of the relief efforts, particularly in the small way with Justice and the team. But we continue to think and pray for you in Uganda. And I'm going to ask Justice just to really his Justice, if you can unmute yourself as well. Justice, what's your, very briefly, but I know Marissa behind me wants to ask you very specific questions about our programs, but what's been your enduring thought and of this year, and what do you see as hope as you come out of this year? What's giving you hope?
Yeah, first of all, I was scared like anybody. Everybody was scared about COVID-19, scared about family, scared about the children we work with, scared about my staff, how to manage, how to pay their salaries, how to go on if the government announced that we open. But for me, the great source of hope was how other people, even outside Uganda, came on board to support us. Like when COVID came up, I wrote appeals to our partners, and we were encouraged, much as I knew that even them, like even UK had issues, America had issues, but the way people came up to stand with us in this time, it was a very big ray of hope for me, for the organization, for the families we work with, for the children in our communities. Because when it happened, we managed to give all our children, we gave them food. We have managed to pay our staff salaries up to December 31st. It's not full salary, but they are getting something, because I know some other organizations have closed completely. Like the chairman said, we have managed to give our students educational materials. 98% of our children have all got educational materials. So they are being kept busy during this time. And the health center, which is a very central part of our work, health-wise, it has managed to run since the lockdown. Again, I know UK has been behind us to give us materials, to give us money for the running of the ambulance, for buying drugs, for buying aprons, gloves, masks, sanitizers. So for me, that was a great encouragement, that in spite of the fear and the scare of the disease and the scare of the future, there are people out there who stood with us, who supported us, who sent us emails and asked, how are you? What are you doing? How are you managing? And also from the sponsorship money, we have managed to give our children 3 rounds of food packets. So they have got food packets. It's not enough, but it's better than nothing. And some of our work has been running, apart from the health center, especially the WASH, which is mainly supported by UK. It has been running, and this is the last month of the first project of 3 years. And for me, it's exciting to see the results that we could achieve in the 3 years. That at the moment, within the 3 years, we have drilled 14 new wells. We have rehabilitated 17 wells. And you know, water is crucial in the COVID era. So without water, we wouldn't fight COVID successfully. So we are proud that because of WASH, the water department, the water question has been really answered. We have supported families with toilets, and we have done 40 latrines I think when I say toilets, it's a bit confusing. It's not the flushing ones. It's the long drop latrines. 40 latrines in the 3 years. And we have supported the schools to give them harvesting water facilities. So we are proud that in spite of the darkness that was brought by COVID, some good has been done. Hello, we have these 15 church planters and 17 churches. And again, because of your help, we have supported 17 churches to reopen after the lockdown had been lifted. And we provided them with water, we provided them with the hand washing facilities, with masks, with the sanitizers. So we are proud that something has been going on, something's being done, hope is being planted into the lives of the people in spite of the scare of COVID-19. So again, thank you very much for supporting us.
Thank you, Justice. I must admit, I did smile to myself when I heard that the 17 churches were opening, but they could only open for an hour. That made me feel that some of the British culture of church was coming to Uganda. Justice, I'm just going to introduce Marissa. I think you've met Marissa, and she's going to just ask a couple of questions about the disability, I think, and maybe Wash.
Hi, Justice and Sam. Really good to connect with you, and yeah, just to hear about the stories of hope and support from our supporters and donors, and just seeing so many faces on the call, it just shows how much you all are loved and supported. So I just wanted to follow up with the WASH program. So I know you've been working, the program is coming to an end, and it's been working in 12 villages. You've reached something like over 12,000 people, which is incredible. So can you just share a little bit more about, you talked about hope, a bit more about the change that it's impacted on the community in terms of behavior and attitudes towards sanitation?
Yes, I can. One of our targets and objective was, one, to go to a safe, clean water source. So we are very glad that we have done and achieved that now more families can reach a water source within a kilometer where it was 5 kilometers. Now they can reach at 1 to 2 kilometers. Secondly, we have taught them the importance of washing hands in their homes, so that we taught them with these tip taps, locally made hand washing taps, if I can call them taps. So people know they can wash their hands. And you know that if we can achieve hygiene 100% in the homes, we can reduce infant mortality, we can reduce the prevalence of waterborne diseases, which I'm very proud to say that we have done this. I'm sure that this is through the WASH program. But also the other point that I've always emphasized, that we had issues with girls walking long distances and the risks introduced to our girls as they walked long distances. We have in our area child sacrifice, child kidnap, rape, rampant, especially when children are walking to the wells. But now if they are reduced distances, we can ably protect our children and reduce some of those occurrences to our girls and also the boys to a certain extent. Now, our focus in the coming period, we have done the 12 villages. we want to move to another 12 villages. For those of you who have been here, Andrew and Tony and Peter and Brian and Mary, we want to move now to Kiindi is near the lake, but it has more issues with water. So we want to go to that area, again, appoint 12 villages, and again, give them hope through providing safe, clean water, reducing distances traveled by each family to a source of water, and then reducing waterborne diseases and other things related to that. So we want to give hope to other villages after the 12 villages that we have been working with.
Thank you, Justice. Yeah, so we're working at the moment on another 3-year project with the Iron Uganda team. Hopefully that will start early next year. And it's the other project that we've been working on is the Disability Inclusion Project. So for supporters that aren't aware of that project, it's working with children with disabilities to give them better inclusion in schools through sports, also training teachers, working with the school administrators to improve disability inclusion policies. And that project has been running for 3 years as well. So Justice, can you share a bit about the attitudes that the community and also in the schools and parents have about disability and perhaps overall in Uganda, those attitudes towards disability, and any particular stories that you have heard of change in terms of attitude or the difference it's made in, the lives of some of the children that the project has supported?
Yeah, thank you very much. Now, one of our objectives is to help families, teachers, and the communities include disabled children, and then in sports specifically, because the study was showing that if children are introduced to play, it affects their academic performance positively. Now, one of the sad attitude here, that when a family has a disabled child, it is considered a curse. Some families think it's a curse to have a disabled child. And in a family, if a woman delivers a disabled child, the husband can ably say, that is not my child. And that could be a cause for breaking a marriage if a child was born disabled to a family. So one of the things that we've been doing on this program is going out to meet teachers, meet head teachers and community members. Yesterday, we started talking to parents. And yesterday, I had about 80 parents not to discriminate children, to inform us or inform local leaders, to inform their churches if there are children they see in their villages, in their communities who are not being catered for. Of course, the biggest challenge that came out from that workshop yesterday was we don't have money. We don't have enough money to look after these children. Most of the parents were crying that way, that the disabled children are very expensive. Their schools are very expensive. Their equipment is very expensive. And yet, most of these mothers, some of them are single mothers, they don't have resources to look after these children. So it was a bit of a challenge, and also to reassure them, to explain to them, to encourage them to do small income generating activities, to work with existing organizations like internationals and other organizations. The parents came, definitely. of the 80 parents that came, there were only 6 men. 6 men. The rest were women. So again, it shows you the attitude or the mindset of the man, and especially the African man. So we need to do a lot to change the attitude, the mindset of especially the men or the fathers. But we are on the way. We are doing something. We are very glad that people are responding. The schools, we work with the 40 schools. They have responded well. The teachers have come to us. The head teachers have come to us. So I see a ray of hope again that we can change attitude and mindset of these people.
Thanks, Justice, for sharing. That's really interesting. And I know from speaking to the guys on the ground that a lot of change has been happening, and the teachers are really enthusiastic about learning how to create play that incorporates and includes children with disabilities, and parents as well have, you know, a lot of people have said that their attitudes have now changed. So I think for the next project that we plan next year, we have to do a specific training just for some fathers. So we'll work on that with the team for next year. So thanks for sharing about that. And I'm going to hand back to Rich now.
Amazing. We're just going to take 5-10 minutes. Just if anybody has any questions, or if you just want to share something, an encouragement for Justice and Samuel on the ground, that's fine. Just feel free to either wave at me or unmute yourself and just ask away.
Can I add one little thing about disability inclusion?
Yeah. Please.
I also think we need some expertise. We need some special needs teachers, because it is not enough to encourage the family to raise some money and to change attitudes. They sometimes just don't know what to do. And there are some special needs teachers, and if our schools could have each of them employ a special needs teacher to be a focal person for coordinating the inclusion activities, it would be very helpful.
Absolutely. Does anybody have a question or just something they want to share? Liz, please fire away.
I am a special needs teacher. So if there was a situation where you had some people willing to train, I could come out to you for a number of weeks or months and train a small group.
Wow.
Just a thought.
Thank you.
Thank you, thank you, thank you very much.
I was there in 2019, in January, just as we came to you with Abu and with my daughter. We came from Kakamega, you remember?
Yes, and there is, you can come again. There is still space for you. You still have enough sunshine, enough work.
Sunshine we could do with.
Yes.
Maybe think about it. I could do that for a time.
Yeah, you work with Danny and Maris. You can work with them.
Okay.
Maris, yeah.
Tony.
Justice, I just wondered how the staff at Bukway and Kindy are getting on. You know, those individuals, are they doing okay?
Yes, they are doing okay. Again, because of the support you sent us, we managed to give them food support for the staff, and we have gone on paying for their salaries even when they are not working. And next week, we are going to give them another food package to go with for Christmas to their families. So they are doing okay.
Good. Thank you. Send them our love if you can when you next see them. We're thinking of them.
I will.
Peter.
Yeah.
Hi. I just wondered how your families were doing, Justice and Sam, really. It's great to see you, by the way. And you're looking so well. It must be something to do with the African sunshine, I guess.
No, it's the fish heads. It is the fish heads.
Of course. Yes.
Well, I'll let Justice answer about his family. We've been celebrating Silver Jubilee with him.
Yeah.
But our family is doing fine, considering my brother-in-law was admitted suffering from COVID-19, and he has been discharged. He's working through the side effects, but I think he will pull through. His wife did not get any symptoms, but was positive. So we are starting to walk on tiptoes, but otherwise we are fine here. We have been able to grow all the food we need, except mutton and beef. But otherwise we are fine.
No, we are also okay. Deborah is fine. She's still catching up with the loss of her mother. But also we had the Silver Jubilee, the 25 years in marriage. We are okay. And next week, we shall have a little bit more time as family because everybody will be at home after running up and down with work. But we are so far so good. Thank you. How is Olive?
She is well, thank you. She's very sorry that she couldn't be on this call.
Never mind. Greetings and to Freddie and Solomon.
Okay, thank you. Thank you.
And the girls.
And to the girls and to, as well. Hopefully come and see you again soon, Justice.
Please, after COVID has ceased, you should come.
Yeah, I will.
And Sam, don't wait for COVID to end. It won't end soon. Just come.
It may not. Yeah. It may not.
Will you look after me, Sam, if I go ill in your hospital?
Yes. But we will socially distance you, supply with masks.
Okay.
And there'll be plenty of sunshine.
I'm not sure what happens if I get stuck out there.
Yeah.
Yes. Okay. God bless you.
Yeah.
Andrew.
Sam talked about the schools opening, which I assume was sort of state schools. Are the buildings at Bukwe and Kindi just empty at the moment? And do you anticipate them reopening fairly soon if the government allows that?
Yes, the primary 7, the O level and A level are in, and the students are in. The government announces reopening, we shall start. We are using this time to renovate them, some of them. Okay. We are using this as a chance to renovate.
And the dormitories, when we went there, it was obviously quite packed into the dormitories, and I know you've had a new one since then, but how are you going to, because COVID won't disappear, so how are you going to deal with the sort of social distancing aspect of that? I know you've got a bit more capacity, but it's not huge, is it?
No, we had even a boys one. We built a boys dormitory. It was completed last week. So we have a well-spaced girls dormitory and a well-spaced boys dormitory. Each capacity is 200, but for spacing, there will be 100 in.
So that so that means that 100 boys and 100 girls who would have been in boarding school would have to come from home.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. Amazing. Well, I think it's fair to say it is amazing what we've been able to keep doing, even in the most challenging circumstances. And I think adapting all the schools and all the churches as well to be COVID secure is an ongoing challenge. We love to encourage you both as you're working hard on the ground, but it's also great for us to hear what's been going on. Now we are a little bit over time, but I do want to share just a little bit of Christmas cheer from Uganda, if that's okay. If you feel free to dance along.
Yeah, Christmas in you.
Oh yes.
No, Christmas in Africa is mainly an African thing. But again, because of COVID, we have been warned strongly that usually we travel from the city to go to the villages to celebrate Christmas with our families, but the government is advising, if possible, people should not move. Otherwise, we shall slaughter our chicken and our goats, eat our fish with a head, and then a lot of eating mainly. The services will in the churches will still be limited because of the spacing. We shall have 200 per church, mostly. But otherwise, we shall celebrate.
Yeah. Well, let me share this brief video from the children. Let me see. Can we all see this? Amazing.
Yes.
Julie, I think you guys at Eltham College are next.
I want to see your choir singing.
To put something together. We can put something together and send it to you.
Okay.
Can I just say the team are really, really frustrated that they couldn't get out there this year. And it doesn't look like we'd be able to get there next year, but we do think of you all of the time. And we have more fundraising initiatives coming up next year. So, you know, we may not be in contact as much as we should be, shall I say, but you are in our thoughts and prayers, and, you know, the team send all the best to you.
And greetings. Greetings to the principal and the students and the parents, please.
Thank you.
Thank you very much for thinking about us, for putting aside your own worries and concerns and putting together support for us and for our teachers and children. We really, really appreciate that. We had a board meeting last week, and we were really touched and are grateful.
Well, you know, we do what we can. We feel very privileged to be able to help. And, you know, that support will continue in some way, shape or form next year. So thank you.
Amazing.
Say a few, just very quickly. I know some of you have to go, and Vanessa and Mark, it's really good to see you down in Eastbourne. But as International Needs UK, I also want to say a big thank you to all of you who have helped us support these guys in Uganda. Thank you for your devotion to fundraising, your prayers, your letters, your continued support. It's really appreciated, particularly this year. That's been a difficult year. And yeah, thank you for walking with us and journeying with us. And from International Needs UK, if I don't get to say it, may we wish you all a very, very happy Christmas.
Merry Christmas to everyone.
Merry Christmas.
Yeah.
And a happy New Year. Let next year be much better.
Amen.
Yeah. We'd love just to close with a blessing, if that's okay. Maybe Pastor Justice, could you just briefly bless us in your language?
Okay. N'omukisa gwa Katonda ayinza byonna, Kitaffe n'Omwana n'Omwoyo Omutukuvu kubeere ku mmwe n'abaagala bammwe, kuleme okubavaako emirembe n'emirembe. Amiina.
Amen.